All right, I never thought I would say this, but Hillary Clinton and Marjorie Taylor Greene, in a moment that is freezing over hell as we speak, teamed up to pound Trump. Now, I used the wrong word there, but I think you get my point. To wreck him, to call him out. That's the phrasing that I meant to use. But you understand what I mean. It's not that they even directly coordinated, but Hillary Clinton used Marjorie Taylor Greene's criticism of Trump in her own deposition relating to Epstein that Republicans are doing. That is a desperate attempt to get the headlines away from Trump and onto like Hillary Clinton for some reason. And Hillary Clinton and Marjorie Greene were on the same team in this kind of weird cosmic moment. Take a look.
You know, a former member of this committee, someone with whom I doubt I have very much in common, Marjorie Taylor Greene, said that Trump put pressure on Bondi not to release the files. And if I recall, she was one of the votes for the Transparency Act, and she and others, including other members of this committee, were hauled into the White House and taken to the woodshed. And so I believe she may be a source of information about, her own experience, demonstrating clearly that this White House does not want the Justice Department to release the files that might in any way incriminate President Trump.
And her leveraging Marjorie Taylor Greene's statements comes after the bombshell leak that Marjorie Greene did that kind of led to this series of events, caused Trump to go nuclear, which is actually, despite everything I believe about the history of Marjorie Taylor Greene's politics and the lack of character she's shown in so many different cases, I do think there's something authentic about her getting a call from Trump, screaming at her, saying you cannot support the release of the files, and that actually flipping a switch in her head about who he was. I understand she could have a cynical goal here too, but I think there was some authenticity to her going, wait, the guy that I've loved for some reason, lied for some reason, justified the lies of for some reason, he just called me and begged me to protect the most heinous elites. I can't get my head around that. And so then she leaked the sort of substance of that call, and it led obviously to Trump calling her Marjorie Taylor Greene and all these different things. So that's what Hillary Clinton's referencing there. Then you probably saw in the same deposition where Republicans are, before getting to Trump, the guy who's actually heading up the cover-up and the impeding of transparency, they're talking to Hillary Clinton, which I'm sure is really about transparency and not a distraction. Just the quickest pause for the video amid all of this chaos. If you do appreciate these updates, please click the subscribe button, click the like button. Both of those are completely free, but subscribe is the most important to support what we do. Back to the video. But one of the things that they battled over before this deposition happened was, would this be a public live deposition, or would it be behind closed doors and then maybe release the video later? Hillary Clinton wanted it to be live in front of the cameras so that everyone could watch it as it was happening. Republicans didn't. They ended up releasing the footage, which is good to see. But because of that, they had to abide by closed-door rules. And Boebert leaked a photo while it was going on to Benny Johnson, which violated those rules. So then Hillary's thinking, wait, I wanted to do this public, but now you're not following the rules that y'all forced me to agree to. Why the heck am I supposed to follow the rules?
Information. Okay. I went to the fundraiser to support my friend Nia Lowy. All right.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
I have
there
another.
Are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying from inside this room. Can you please advise me as to whether or not that's permissible and consistent with the rules, particularly given that we have asked for a public hearing? If there are photos that are being released of the secretary as she is testifying, can you please explain how that can
I'm done with this. If you guys are doing that, I am done. You can hold me in contempt from now until the cows come home. This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
So I would like to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was...
It doesn't matter. We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah, well...
I would like to take a break at this moment.
Yeah,
I'd like to have
I'm
a conversation.
done for now.
Go off the record. Go off the record.
Say what you like about whatever Hillary Billary, as I call him. Has anyone ever thought of that? Hillary and Billary. I think that was epic fury. And Boebert better be careful, because if you keep playing these games, Hillary's going to drop the midnight hammer on you, okay? No, I mean, that was justified. I saw someone comment, anytime Trump or Luke makes an obviously bad joke, they want you to play crickets more often. And I obviously responded with, he never has to use crickets because I never make a bad joke. Okay. That would be one. Okay. So that's justified rage. You're going, I wanted this to be public. I don't know what rules you're going to follow now that you already broke one. What are we doing? And what was so funny is, listen here, because Boebert came out and was like, that's right, I posted the photo. We love it. We got it. We should. We could. And then actually behind closed doors, she's like, I'm sorry. I'll delete it. I'm so sorry. Because when Hillary pointed her finger, I'd be scared too. Like, I don't care how old Hillary is. I don't care, woman, man. She could kick my butt with that level of epic fury.
This is just typical behavior.
We will go off the record.
Post one.
Oh, for heaven's
So I would
sake.
like to understand how that's permissible.
Before the hearing was,
It doesn't
Excuse
matter.
me.
We all are abiding by the same rules.
I will take that down.
Yeah, well,
I will take that down. Oh, but you came out and were so brave about it that you did nothing wrong. And they're like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. Wow. Okay, then there was this, Lauren Boebert citing an email where Epstein said that Hillary was better looking in person, and Hillary says, that's right.
And then just a couple of more questions. Regarding the Epstein files, there are many files where Jeffrey Epstein seems to speak as though he does know you personally. In one file, EFTA 006571115. Mr. Epstein is commenting, and he quotes, "Hey, Hillary Clinton is much prettier in person." This was Tuesday, September 20th, 2011. And then another,
Congressman,
I'm not going to object to that.
I'm not going to object to that. Now, that could have been any context. Again, we really, it's wild that people would go, well, Hillary, we really need to ask you some questions before they're willing to bring Trump in front of this committee for obvious reasons. What comes up in the documents about Hillary is nothing like is actually nothing in a concerning capacity from what I've seen. Maybe I missed something, but you just have we know powerful people. Epstein got in a lot of powerful rooms, rubbed elbows. Ghislaine Maxwell was the +1 to Hillary's kids' wedding. And you're like, who the hell are these people? Just everywhere, Ghislaine at the wedding. So that's what people point to. But again, there's not like any allegations of wrongdoing against Hillary in relation to all this, like there are actual allegations of wrongdoing against Trump in the documents. Bill was the one who actually seemed to do more associating with Epstein. His argument is that was actually a long time ago, unlike the people who say that and then were like buddy with him all the way through. And I'm not sure. I don't think in the files there's any allegations against Bill of wrongdoing, but you have photos of him like in a hot tub, and we'll reference that when we get to the Bill segment. But my point is that you can advocate, as I have been, for anyone and everyone who shows up in the files or had a history of friendships or had someone at the wedding to go and answer whatever they know, and they can clear the air or they could give information about what they know and be grilled. It's just obvious what the flawed priorities are of this committee in trying to get Hillary before the person who actually engaged in the cover-up.
You have held 0 public hearings, refused to allow the media to attend them, including today, despite espousing the need for transparency on dozens of occasions. You have made little effort to call the people who show up most prominently in the Epstein files. And when you did, not a single Republican member showed up for Les Wexner's deposition. This institutional failure is designed to protect one political party and one public official. rather than to seek truth and justice for the victims and survivors, as well as inform the public who want to get to the bottom of this matter. My heart breaks for the survivors, and I am furious on their behalf.
Yeah, and I think this investigation is a huge miscarriage of justice when, as she referenced, Republicans weren't interested in talking with the guy who actually has a very documented association and intertwinement with Epstein, and that was Les Wexner. Not interested. But then Hillary shows up and Bobo's like, let's do it, baby, shoo-wee, and is ready to grill her so they can get a clip. That's what this is about. And I think they're kind of regretting bringing her in because it didn't go very well for them. They just kind of gave her a platform and a lot of media attention to call out the Trump administration for actually engaging in the cover-up. And Hillary and Billary are both saying all the files should be released. Like, they're both advocating for everything to be released, unlike Trump.
Howard Lutnick.
No, not that I recall.
Steve Bannon.
I don't know if I've ever met him. You all have to introduce me.
I take that
I love it. I just have to say the whole vibe she was giving off was good. Then you have this.
Prior to 2008, when Jeffrey Epstein pled guilty to the watered-down charges that Alex Acosta negotiated and then was rewarded for in the first Trump administration with a cabinet position, there are so many unanswered questions. And I looked at the transcript of the Alex Acosta testimony that was taken before this committee, and I don't think that any Republican members asked him a question. So you have to conclude that there is something rotten in the state of Denmark, or clearly the Justice Department, starting...
There is something rotten. They won't give me Greenland.
In the White House and at the top with the Attorney General. And this latest example of the missing files about the allegations, and they are absolutely nothing more than allegations, but the FBI interviewed that witness 4 times. You don't interview a non-credible witness 4 times. You don't put into the FBI reporting, protect this source, if you think there is nothing to it. So, of course, I would like to know, like every other American deserves to know, what is in those files and who is going to hold people accountable, because the Justice Department seems to be either unwilling or incapable of doing so.
So she referenced there the interviews that have now parts of them, documentation related to them, has gone missing in the public Epstein files that were allegations and interviews with a alleged victim of Trump who was making allegations against Trump and was interviewed 4 times by law enforcement. So you'd think you'd get to that guy before you get to Hillary, because Ghislaine went as a powerful socialite with another probably powerful person as a +1. Can you imagine, by the way? +1 Ghislaine. That was a long time ago. I'm just saying, like, that being your +1. Yikes, get your life on track. And then we get to this. Well, can I just say something before I play this? Before I play this, Hillary Clinton's 78 years old, okay? And whatever you feel about her presidential campaign or how she treated Bernie, I was about to try to merge. No, not staying serious. And, or, you know, whatever. She's sharp as a tack. And I would guess that she's like 55 and she's 78. And I just want us to remember that because of her flaws, we as a country chose someone who makes her flaws look adorable, which was Trump, who can't, for once in his life, answer questions this directly about relationships with Epstein. who could not think about any topic as clearly and concisely as Hillary could. And even I'm thinking about the Kamala presidential campaign and some of the interviews she did that didn't feel like she would actually just give a thorough punch of an answer. And it's a weird place to be in. And with love to Joe, okay, with love to Joe, he's only a few years older than her. And I don't think he was as good at articulating clear, concise points as you can see she is. So pretty impressive stuff.
As far as best as you can recall, you've never met Jeffrey Epstein.
That's true. That's correct.
As best as you can recall, and I know that, and you've said this, you've never went to the island.
Never went to the island.
You never flew with him on a plane.
Never flew with him on a plane.
And you were never
or a train, or a right, or a boat, or a goat.
aware of his horrific crimes prior to those becoming public knowledge. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. As far as
I mean, that's her testimony. If you can find evidence to the contrary, boom, she's under oath. You can prosecute her. But Trump doesn't want to go under oath and say the same thing. You think he would say the same thing? Not on a train, not on a plane, not on a boat, not on a goat, not on a ferry, not on a where? You think he could say the same thing? You think the same thing? With not in a green executive ham, not in the lamb. You think he can say the same thing? You think he can say the same thing? Under oath? Under oath? You think he says the same thing? Sorry. You think? Do you think, Cole? You think he says the same thing? I don't think he would say the same thing under oath. I think he would say, I'm asserting my Fifth Amendment. Then you have this.
If they are incompetent and they are incapable of complying with the law that the Congress passed, we need to know that because they are falling down on the job. They have an FBI director who's more interested in drinking beer and a hockey dressing room after our team won the Olympics, rather than being responsive and complying with the law as it has been promulgated.
I mean, she's using words like promulgated, and we made Trump president. Do you even think he knows what promulgated means? So she also used dressing room instead of locker room, and I love it. I love picturing a big muscular hockey player being like, I just need to stop in the dressing room and powder my nose. And then you have one other clip where she calls out Trump being a civilly liable sexual abuser.
And finally, do you think that Donald Trump should be deposed by this committee?
Absolutely. You know, I was a lawyer, and as a lawyer, you would look for pattern and practice. If you were deposing a witness in a case that you were trying, if you were in court, what did you know about this person? What you knew could influence how you questioned that person, how you tried the case. Donald Trump has been held civilly liable for sexual assault by a jury of his peers. 9 members of a jury found him liable in the sexual assault of E. Jean Carroll. That is behavior. That fits a pattern if one were looking for a pattern. He has also been convicted on 34 felony counts for attempting to hide his relationship with an escort, and then to commit business fraud to prevent it from becoming public in the 2016 campaign, which
Hillary, she wasn't an escort. She was a porn star. Let's stop. Come on. It's 2026. Let's get our terms correct. Okay.
was ultimately election interference. So if I were running the committee or I were involved in this investigation, I would be looking for people who maybe had some prior conduct that might be relevant to either money or crimes. And yes, I think that it would be in keeping with the scope of the investigation of this committee to set up a deposition.
With Trump, yeah. So she's doing a little bit of suspense there, but that's what she was getting to. And the point's correct. You could spend time talking to her for some reason not show up to Les Wexner's. Or, you know, you could give some time to the guy who, number one, has the authority and has directed the cover-up, relevant. And number two, has a pattern of violations that I think are relevant to this investigation as well.